Good evening. Yes, it is a good evening indeed. How you doing, warriors? Hanging in there? I know I am. I know I am. Now, this day is a very special day for me because I get to present something to y'all that hasn't ever been presented, and I'm excited about it, and I can barely contain my excitement. But before we do that, I just want to give you the view out there. As you can see, the ocean is a lot more mellow these days. For the past 2 days, it's come in really flat, and it's just all sorts of beautiful colors. Oh yeah. So today is the day that we cover, and if you have been following my videos, you'll know that the last time I told you that this is going to be a fun chapter in the book of Revelation. Now, we've covered a lot so far. John's vision is slowly unraveling. We learned last time that the two witnesses are, in fact, one. We've learned that John's seals are chakras, which the master opens. We see how it's done. We know that these are the seven spirits of God. We know that man was also created with these seals. We know that a man has the opportunity to seal up his scroll of life. The scroll that contains everything we do, everything we say, everything we think. Now, this is a good time for all this to be happening because from the looks of it in the news that I follow, talks about how a lot of stores are going to be tightening their restrictions on who they let in and stuff, and I'm telling you guys, you need to start getting comfortable with as few stuff as possible. Going to the store every week, buying all this stuff, even groceries, it's going to be a thing of the past. And you got to start preparing for it. I know a lot of you are working on yourselves. Continue that self-care, man. Continue working on this. Your body that you have been given, that you will have to return. And if you got a homie with you, wait for that to pass. You got a homie with you, let them know. Let them know, like, hey bro, we got to return these bodies. Maybe we shouldn't be dumping all these toxins into it. Maybe we shouldn't be treating it as if it's ours. Nah. We were bought. We were bought, my guys. So we have a responsibility. We have an obligation as men. So this next chapter in Revelation. It's a fun one. It is absolutely perfect in its completion. Now, why? Because this next chapter is the new creation story. It's the story that we are going to, from now on, tell our kids of how things began. Genesis is the thing of the past. I'm going to say that again. Genesis is a thing of the past, remember. Christ is making all things new, including the creation story. Because the creation story we have now is what has led us to this huge wedge between men and women, Adam and Eve, and the races that comprise them. So that's why we're going to be given a lot more kid-friendly version. And you'll see what I mean once I start. But I kind of just want to sit in this moment, knowing that we're together right now. You know, I need you, bros. I need you on your A game. And I need you to recognize everything that's distracting you from your A game so that you can push it aside. So you can push it aside. Why? Because that's what we do. We discipline ourselves. We keep ourselves looking fresh, ready for death. We have that way in our mind at all times. Because that's warrior culture, baby. Warrior culture, baby. Culture, baby. That's what we need. That's what we're after. That's what will bond us together. That's the crazy glue that will keep us together. Man, I'll tell you what, this Western culture has got men all twisted up. That's why we need warrior culture. Because this Western culture, they tell a man that he becomes a man after his first drink or after his first leg. Warrior culture doesn't say that. Warrior culture says that you are a boy until Adam says that you are a man. Until Adam looks upon you and says you are one with me. And it's not as simple as just being a good boy. You got to discipline yourself. You got to go through the steps. And every single time you're defeated in your own disciplines, you don't let it bring you down. You get back on your routines. All right, let's start this thing, man. So this is chapter 12. Y'all ain't ready for this. All right. Chapter 12, Book of Revelation. Here we go. New creation. A great sign appeared in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. This is the queen. This is Eve. And what is being described is her armada, clothed in the sun, the moon under her feet, with a crown of 12 stars on her head. This is describing her fleet. This is her ship. Because the queen of the universe, she's so good at what she does. She's so good at ruling that she has managed to keep this up for as long as anyone ever has, to the point where she has space travel, time travel, all this stuff. But something happens next, and that is verse 2. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. She got pregnant. Because she has been ruling for so long as a single queen, she did what happens to many species in nature when there are no males worthy enough. She got pregnant on her own. It happens. It happens in nature all the time, and we are a part of nature. People who baffle at the idea of a virgin birth is just absolutely absurd. It's so common. It's so common. It's simple. She's pregnant and she cries out in pain, and that's part of the sign too. This gets God's attention. Then another sign appeared in heaven. Now this sign coming up, I'll read it. An enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on its head. That's the description of this red dragon, which is basically the representation of chaos. That's the alternate version of this boy that she's going to give birth to. So because she gets pregnant, this dragon appears, because that is the opposite of the boy himself, who is supposed to, we'll find out later, is supposed to represent all the goodness and all the good things. So of course, we have to have its opposite, which is this enormous red dragon. Now, why a dragon? Why did Christ choose to write in a dragon? And also a queen. Because we're trying to get the attention of our children. We're trying to get the attention of the young ones. And the younger they are, the more open their mind's eye are. They see things, they see the world differently than we do. So when you talk to them about a queen and you talk to them about a dragon, it makes sense to them. They grasp that idea so easily because they've been in the spiritual plane more recent than we have. They've just been there. They were newborns, or if they're toddlers, they know what they're doing. They know what they're saying when they're talking about stuff. If you are discrediting your children and you think that you are better off captaining the ship or something, you really need to give your children a second look, because they're telling you stuff. If your kid randomly just says like, oh, we should go here today, or we should do this today, maybe take a listen, because they could be telling you something that's happening in the spiritual realm that you don't see. So this is why Christ writes in about a queen and a dragon, because it is so easy for our children to grasp. And this is the story that we're going to be telling them. It's the new story. Verse 4. Its tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. So this is talking about the armada that the queen has. The dragon destroyed a third of her ship. Right? A third of her ship has been destroyed. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, so that it might devour her child the moment he was born. Because this is the chaotic version of the good son that wants to just immediately annihilate the goodness that's about to be brought into the universe. And this is why he is able to get so close to the queen, because they are a part of each other. She gave birth to a son, a male child who will rule the nations with an iron scepter. And her child was snatched up to God and to his throne. God heard the cry of the queen. And this whole time he had been coming up with a plan to keep the chaotic version from consuming the good version, the harmonious version. The woman fled into the wilderness to a place prepared for her by God, where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days. That is the same amount of time that the witness prophesies. And also, where is this? This is the Garden of Eden. This is Eve. This is where she came from. Who's going to be taking care of her? Adam. So she is going to have a safe haven on earth, because God and Adam have been planning this. God and Adam, it's been them since the very beginning. And the two of them work together, and Adam's very good at what he does because he's God's first creation of clay, of nature, of earth. Turns out the guy is magnificent because he can pretty much talk to animals. He can command animals, tell them where to go, tell them what to do. He can name them. He lives in harmony with all the animals. He's not some primitive form of man. He is man. And so him and God are the perfect team to pull off what is about to happen. So she meets Adam, and he's taking care of her. Verse 7, then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. There's a day that this happens on, and there's some information that I have about this battle that I can release to you guys in another video. But as for now, we're going to keep it going just how it is. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God, and the authority of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brothers and sisters, who accuses them before our God day and night, has been hurled down. They triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in them. But woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He is filled with fury, because he knows that his time is short. So this is a voice in heaven commanding, using a spoken word power to explain everything that's going on. Not so much explaining what's going on, but the he's explaining the results. He's explaining the results of the actions that have just taken place, the results that can't be seen yet. So there's a little bit of forethought there. Verse 13, when the dragon saw that he had been hurled to the earth, he pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child. The woman was given the 2 wings of a great eagle, so that she might fly to the place prepared for her in the wilderness. So this is her enacting on the plan. I'm going to finish that verse. Where she would be taken care of for a time, times and a half a time, out of the serpent's reach. So we see the first part of the chapter was the description of what's happening, and then we see how it's done, how God got her to this place. In Genesis, we are told that Adam is put into a deep sleep and that Eve is made out of his rib. But here we have something completely different, when in fact Eve, queen of the universe, loses a third of her ship, but through God's help, through 2 wings, is taken to this place in the wilderness that has been prepared by God, where Adam is. So Eve is being taken to Adam. Now, here we go, verse 15. Then from his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river to overtake the woman and sweep her away with the torrent. But the earth helped the woman by opening its mouth and swallowing the river that the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. I'm going to read those 2 sentences again. Then from his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river to overtake the woman and sweep her away with the torrent. This is the deceit that we hear about in Genesis, the deceiving words that the serpent whispered to Eve in the garden. Kind of the same concept, but we have it different, where the dragon spews this torrent and just a river. It's described as a river, like water, like crashing water, to sweep the woman away, right? Because that's what lies do, to deceive. It sweeps. In Genesis, we're told that it deceives Eve. And same thing, the intent behind this torrent of water is to just sweep her away. And we find out in this new version is so great, because here comes Adam. Here comes Adam. But the earth helped the woman by opening its mouth and swallowing the river that the dragon had spewed out of its mouth. This is Adam intercepting the torrent, intercepting the lie. Because in Genesis, we are told that Adam is just standing there, standing by, watching this happen, watching Eve get lied to. But no, that's not man. Man wouldn't do that. Man would act in that moment, especially teamed up with God. So he intercepts. With the help of God, he swallows up that torrent that the devil spewed towards his woman. Not even his woman. This is a visitor. And he takes it like a bullet. He jumps in front of it and consumes it himself. What a guy. What a man Adam is. Interception, baby. Interception. Devil threw a Hail Mary. Intercepted. No pun there. Then the dragon was enraged at the woman and went off to wage war against the rest of her offspring. Man, that's human beings, baby. We're at war here. That's why I'm trying to get you guys on the path. That's why I'm trying to get you guys on the way. Her offspring, those who keep God's commands and hold fast to their testimony about Jesus. This isn't a game, yo. This isn't a story anymore. This is real life. This is real life. And we're going to just do that chapter because the next chapter is about to begin. But I just want you to sit on that. Man, sit on that. And think about if you are an offspring. If you are an offspring, do you keep God's commands? Do you hold fast to your testimony about Jesus? Do you even have a testimony about Jesus? Let me tell you something. If you watch my videos, you do. And if you don't want a testimony about Jesus, I suggest you don't ever watch another one of my videos ever again. So you can see that right there, that's where we started. That's how all this began. How great is that? How great is it that we no longer have to worry about the deceit from Eve and put all this blame on women, and they feel this burden and this weight on them that they are the reason that sin is here. That's not Christ's story. No, he makes all things new. And his story says that the lie, the deceit from the devil, Satan himself, was intercepted by Adam, man. What a story, man. I mean, this is going to change the way that our children think. This is going to change the way that they perceive the world, especially if you tell them about the queen and the dragon and the earth swallowing up the torrent. You start telling them about that now, it's going to ring something in their head that's so true because their mind's eye is still open, very much open, that it's going to completely change the trajectory of their lives. We're going to be having super babies, man. Super babies growing up into super teens growing into super adults. That's how something so simple as belief, something so simple as creating something brand new can do. I hope you are starting to understand. I hope that you are starting to get something here. I hope you are starting to get a hint of motivation as to why you need to start disciplining yourself, of why you, as a man, need to make your body into something that can intercept. And it's not just the body, it's the mind too. A lot of it happens in the mind. A lot of it does. That's why you have to make sure that what you're putting in front of your eyes, because your eyes receive the information and they create little pools in your mind. And it can be very hard for you to focus if you be putting a lot of garbage in front of your eyes. We know from the kings We know from the kings who ran this earth that the good ones, the ones that were splendorous, made an effort not to put anything ungodly in front of their eyes. And this day and age, it's all around us. 360 degrees. 360 degrees, we are surrounded by images, videos, even sound that just wants to get all around up in our face. Like a veil. A nasty, ungodly veil. This video is trustworthy, man. And it will wake you up. It will get you pumped. It will get you pumped to start every day with discipline on the mind. What can I do today? What can I do today to put a rope around my flesh, cinch it down, and say, no, I'm in control. You're not in control. I'm the captain now. You get it? You get why this is so important? You get why I need you guys? Why I need you, bros? No matter how small, no matter how big. I don't care if you're big. I don't care if you're scrawny. I don't care if you're 5'4". I don't care if you're 6 foot freak. I don't care if you're 8 foot, a million. We need you. I don't care if you have these obscure thoughts. I can work with that. I can work with that. I can put your mind on what is pure, what is lovely, what is right, what is virtuous, what is kind. I can put you on that, man. I don't care where you come from. I don't care where you're going. All I care about is where you are right now. Let me tell you something. We know about the society, about the culture of this world. They're very judgmental about your physical appearance, right? That's why you're feeling the way that you are. Like I said, if you're self-conscious about your height, if you've been really short your whole life, or you've been really tall where you think that you're some sort of freak show, I look at you and I see where your value is, and I have a place for you. I have a spot for you in my culture, baby. Warrior culture. Because that's what we need. We need culture in this country. We need a unifying culture. And I can't think of any better culture to base it on than this warrior ethos that is done through Christ Jesus. I have a spot for you, my friend. I have a spot for you, my brother. And you are going to feel more alive and more like a man than you ever have. More than any woman could tell you. More than any woman could make you feel. Like I said, they have their version of a man. Let them pursue it. Let them go. We got this. I ain't tripping, I ain't worried. And I'm telling you, what do I always say? Don't worry. Don't worry so much. Go in here. Go in here. Search it. Go up here, search it. But if you go up here and search up here, do it with an open mind. Find opposing views in your head. And give it to them in a way. These different ideas in your head, you gotta approach it. Well, otherwise you're gonna really twist yourself up. So you have to go into the mind very carefully. Go into your mind, go into your heart. Take inventory. That's what it's called. It's taking inventory of your mind, taking inventory of your heart. If you're having wild thoughts, if you have breakage in your heart, if you are punctured in your heart, if you are rended or wounded or bleeding of your heart, I'm not even asking you to patch it up, because it's impossible to do on our own. But I'm at least asking you to go in and look where the holes are, so that when the patcher comes, you'll know exactly what to tell him. You'll know exactly what to do. This planet is ours to inherit. Did you know that? But we can't do it. We can't inherit it if our children that are gonna be raised on the same crap we were, in the same way that we were. No. That's why we come to this understanding now, so that we would raise our children differently to be these inheritors. Because this planet is a jewel. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It's a jewel. It's an absolute jewel. And it always will be. Why? Because of Adam. Now, that being said, we're going to end it there. I love you guys. I love you animals. I love you creatures of the air and creatures of the sea. Peace.